The image makers, the designer-photographer partnerships that change the world. The way in which a fashion label presents itself to the world can be just as important as the garments it makes. Before a customer gets anywhere near the clothes, chances are they'll have some impression of the brand's broader image. That means a designer's work must be backed up with a strong and distinctive advertising campaign to generate a dedicated audience. However, creating a unique and original image which projects wide appeal and an underlying aura of exclusivity is far from an easy task. And this is when the world's top-tier fashion photographers rise above the rest. By capturing the spirit of a brand along with a designer's vision, they present the clothing in a way that's both inspiring, enticing, and recognizable over a prolonged period of time. Let's look at some of fashion's most successful collaborations between design houses and world's high-end photographers, exploring how the magic touch of the top-tier fashion photographers can turn a little-known atelier into an instantly recognizable icon. Examining the influential brands and the photographers that became synonymous with them, the following is a breakdown of how creative execution can develop into a world-famous signature brand image over time.
In this episode of The Image Makers, we're going to explore the collaborative brilliance of Hedi Slimane as a designer, as a photographer, and also some of his key creative partnerships with, notably, Nicola Hedi.
It's all a game, and I think that's the way fashion should be for men. I think they take it so seriously because they think the meaning to anything, you know, that if you wear this and that, you look like you're gay, or if you do this or that, it's really totally, I find it totally retarded.
Now, in the world of fashion, the dynamic relationship between designers and the photographers plays a crucial role in capturing the essence and vision of a brand. And one such exemplary collaboration is that of Hedi Slimane, a renowned fashion designer, and his partnerships with talented photographers, one of which happens to be himself. Now, this ep of The Image Makers explores the extraordinary creative synergy behind Hedi Slimane, the designer, as well as photographer, and also other creatives, highlighting his unique impact on the fashion industry and the unique aesthetic he has cultivated over many decades. Now, Hedi Slimane is a maverick in fashion, and before delving into the collaborations, I think it's essential to understand the creative genius behind the name. Now, Hedi made significant waves in the fashion world with his innovative and transformative designs, particularly during his tenure at Dior Homme and later at Saint Laurent. Slimane's distinctive aesthetic was characterized by slim silhouettes, a rock and roll sensibility, and a keen eye for youth culture. It really redefined fashion, in particular menswear. Now, the art of collaboration, the significance and the impact. Collaborations between designers and photographers are an integral part of the fashion industry, as they bring together the creative minds of both disciplines to create powerful visual narratives. And such partnerships allow designers to translate their artistic vision into captivating imagery, which ideally resonates with their target audience. And through these amazing collaborations, designers can push boundaries, experiment with different styles, and enhance their brand's identity. But how does that work when you are both the designer as well as the photographer? It's a very unique situation. Now let's look at the Slimane aesthetic, and it's a fusion of design and photography. Hedi Slimane's self-collaborations, as well as those with photographers, have been instrumental in shaping and amplifying his distinct aesthetic. And by working closely with these artists, Slimane has successfully translated his rebellious and youthful vision into visually compelling campaigns and lookbooks. The combination of his designs and the photographer's unique perspectives has resulted in a fusion of fashion and photography that captured the zeitgeist of the times. Let's look at some of his iconic partnerships. Firstly, there's Slimane and fellow German-born designer Jürgen Teller. Now, one of the most notable collaborations in Slimane's career is his partnership with Jürgen. And together, they've created visually arresting campaigns that challenge traditional beauty standards and celebrate raw authenticity. Teller's candid and unconventional approach perfectly complemented Slimane's rebellious designs, resulting in captivating imagery that left a lasting impact. And then we have to look at Slimane's self-expression, his photography and beyond. Now, one of the things that sets Slimane apart from other designers is his own prowess as a photographer. And Slimane's passion for photography is very evident in his personal projects and self-portraits. He often captures the essence of youth culture and also subcultures, creating a visual diary that informs his design process and inspires his collaborations with other photographers.
He took pictures of the locals and street kids with a unique flair for style. And perhaps most importantly to his later work, as a music photographer, he began to document the underground dance club scene that Berlin is famed for. The photographs were eventually released to the public through an exhibition and Slimane's first book, the appropriately titled Berlin.
I mean, music has been always so inspiring for fashion, but the time is like late 70s, I would say, when punk emerged in England. And I think in England right now it's really much what's happening. It's like a total new generation taking over. And I spend a lot of time there, and this is the people.
Now let's look at the evolution of these collaborations and Slimane's ongoing partnerships. Throughout his career, Hedi Slimane has consistently sought out fresh perspectives and new talents to collaborate. Right back from his time at Dior Homme to his current tenure as the designer of Celine. Slimane worked with photographers such as David Sims, Tyrone Le Bon, Collier Chon, among others. And these partnerships have allowed Slimane to evolve his aesthetic while staying true to his rebellious spirit.
I don't like to define things.
This is what you mean when you said automatic writing. You mean something that just happens, something you have to do.
And this is same with menswear for me. I don't like to define. I like that it's very open.
And the world is full of people who want to define it for you, though.
Everybody wants to define, yes.
But let's go back to where it all started, and it's Dior Homme. Hedi Slimane's tenure as the creative director of Dior Homme from 2000 to 2007 marked a significant turning point for the brand. And during this time, Slimane collaborated with numerous photographers, including Willy van der Peer and also Karl Lagerfeld, who was the head of Dior at the time. Together, they created iconic campaigns that embraced this new slim silhouette and a dark, sleek, goth-style aesthetic. The models Hedi Slimane often cast were unconventional models. They embodied a rock and roll spirit. Many of them were unknowns. They were street cast in what Hedi used to like to call boys' safari. He would go out on the streets and literally hunt for boys.
Try to explore what already exists in the streets, which is a certain idea of wearing clothes, of behaving. This exists, it's just trying to translate it through Dior.
You can see that was Hedi Slimane. He changes gradually, but the fabrics and the way he cuts and the details and the bijou, 1,000 different pieces of jewelry, I like that.
The guys were chosen, they were sort of a street casting, a lot of them. Some of them are models, but he wanted them to look like themselves, and they're kind of, I don't know if they're skaters or you know, they're kind of punks.
I love that kind of dandy, that kind of grotesque dandy look, and that's what it was for me. I wish more people would take a chance and make clothes like that.
There's not femininity to what he does at all. The lines are masculine, the lines are strong and very architectural, and consequently, you know, you can pile all those bracelets on your wrist and you can hang on those chains from the lapel, and it doesn't look girly at all. It looks very, very masculine.
Is it a new masculinity, or is it just a pure masculinity?
No, I think it's an evolution of masculinity.
Now, some notable models he worked with included male supermodel Brad Koenig and musician Pete Doherty.
Perhaps best known to the fashion world as the drug-addled former paramour of model Kate Moss, Slimane followed Doherty for over a year, chronicling the musician and his signature flair the press would come to describe as skank chic.
Why, oh why, the way of an explanation cast adrift up the shores of Shots' nation. If you wanna try, there's no worse you could do.
And then after Dior Homme, there was Saint Laurent from 2012 to 2016.
Wonderful, extraordinary, amazing. I love the show. The greatest show I've ever seen since Saint Laurent's day.
Not everyone saw the recruitment from Berger's point of view. Slimane had lost favour with the critics who so adored him during his time at Dior. When he sauntered into the house of Yves Saint Laurent and began to make sweeping changes, many saw the opportunity to fashion their pens into pitchforks.
Upon becoming the creative director of Saint Laurent, which is formerly Yves Saint Laurent, which Hedi actually renamed and rebranded the fashion house, it was such a shift, he actually infused it with his distinctive aesthetic, almost took it over and recreated it. And now his collaborations with photographers and stylists reinforced this vision of youthful rebellion and rock-inspired glamour. It was really fresh. And his campaigns to Saint Laurent featured black and white imagery that captured the essence of his brand's edgy and androgynous style.
I like it very much, and suddenly we have Saint Laurent. After so many years, it was so difficult, and now Saint Laurent is back, and I'm very, very happy.
I think it's marvelous. It's a genius.
There seems to be a real sexy tendency this season, no? And what I think is that there's a lot of things that a lot of girls would love to wear tomorrow. Like Kate Moss said, oh my God, this is so me, I want it all.
I think it was marvelous, fantastic, completely in the Maison style, and so it's really respected Saint Laurent, so it's perfect.
Some notable campaigns include the Saint Laurent Music Project, featuring musicians such as everybody from Daft Punk to Marilyn Manson. Now, back to the models. Now, Slimane frequently cast both established and emerging models for his campaigns. Prominent names he's collaborated with include Cara Delevingne, Grace Hartzell, Dylan Brosnan, the son of actor Pierce Brosnan. And there was also the stylists. He often styled his own campaigns. He's obviously keen on maintaining creative control over the brand's image and ensuring consistency with his vision.
It often starts like this. You lower your eyes towards your lips From here, anything could happen. From my lips, your lips and more. Say it. I love you passionately, painfully. All of you. All of me.
And then the current project he is working with now is his Celine brand that he took over in 2018. And since joining Celine in 2018 as artistic director and image director, Slimane continued collaborations with photographers, models, stylists to redefine the brand's aesthetic. His campaigns for Celine have embraced a more polished and refined approach while still maintaining his love of that signature edgy rock and roll look.
Yeah, I'm losing my edge. I'm losing my edge. The kids.
Slimane's campaigns for Celine often featured a mix of black and white and coloured imagery. While specific campaign details are subject to change, some notable campaigns include the Portrait of an Artist series featuring musicians such as David Bowie and Joan Jett. It's fair to say that Slimane has had a long-term love affair and obsession with David Bowie.
Slimane was 6 years old when he received his first record, a live recording of David Bowie, produced as he tore headlong into his thin white Duke phase. The album was universally panned. Mick Jagger went so far as to claim that if he got the kind of reviews David live did, he would honestly never record again. But for Slimane, it opened the door to a lifelong love affair with rock and roll. Seeing the pale, dishevelled Bowie on the front cover allowed him to feel at ease with the idea of femininity within masculinity. A concerted interest in his later work as a designer. While Slimane became interested in a wide range of rock subgenres, including the Rolling Stones and the Clash, two bands he would later design for, he has stated that glam rock is the most significant influence for the future in both design and photography. In 2002, Slimane became the first menswear designer to win the coveted CFDA award for the International Designer. David Bowie, whom Slimane now dressed for tours, presented him with the award.
He brought to men's collection the smouldering androgyny, a mysterious sexual allure that had always been the exclusive provenance of the women's collection.
Thank you so much for your support. That's all I can say.
Now, Slimane's worked with a range of models for his Celine campaigns, including big names such as Kaya Gerber and Micah Zaz. Now, with the stylist, Hedi typically handled his own styling for his campaigns so he could keep creative control. However, Hedi's early collaborations with stylist Nicola Formichetti have resulted in several notable projects.
Hey, my name is Nicola Formichetti. I am, I actually don't know. what I do, exactly. I'm a lover of fashion and style. I've been in business for the last 20 years. I do from designing to styling to creative directions.
Looking back into the life of Formichetty thus far, you will notice a salient theme, a rule breaker persona. There was no formal education or internships to get him to today. He walked alongside the curb, creating a rugged path for himself instead. 1 year, which could be considered his breakout year, was full of failures. The crowd of brand collaboration offers also were the ones that fired him shortly after. His work was loud, and he was often told to tone it down. He rarely obeyed. He was a misfit, after all.
While specific details and campaigns might have changed since, going all the way back, they still stand out to my mind. Now, there was Dazed magazine. Now, Hedi Slimane and Nicola Formichetty collaborated on multiple editorials for Dazed magazine. And these editorials often showcased Slimane's distinct aesthetic and Formichetty's eclectic styling, resulting in visually striking and edgy fashion spreads. Their work exemplified a fusion of punk, streetwear, high fashion, and the rebellious spirit and youth culture that both Slimane and rebel Formichetty are known for.
Yeah, I mean, what Hedi did completely changed everyone's wardrobe. I mean, until today, the whole skinny silhouette was so impactful in the early 2000s, and then lasted for so long. And I love that he always takes inspiration from the street, for the street, and via Paris. I think it's very interesting. I mean, he was kind of one of the first fashion person that I met in Paris, and then later we started collaborating when he became a photographer, and I was styling fashion stories with him, and he was always so encouraging for me to do my own thing. He's like, he was very giving me advice and where to go, and I still remember we did so many incredible photo shoots together, and we went to Japan and LA, and I learned a lot from him.
And then there was Vogue Japan, which was the men's magazine, and Slimane was actually given the role of creative director there, and he took Nicola Formichetty with him, where they joined forces to create these fashion stories and push boundaries and challenge conventional norms. And working together, they brought a unique blend of cutting-edge fashion and subversive styling to the pages of the magazine. Their editorials in Vogue Japan often featured bold, avant-garde looks that combined Slimane's designs with Formichetty's innovative approach to styling. And then, in addition to Dazed and Vogue Japan, Slimane and Formichetty have collaborated on a variety of projects for other fashion publications and runway shows, as well as brand campaigns. As both are highly influential figures in the fashion industry, their joint work was likely spanned different mediums, platforms, showcasing their shared vision and creative synergy. Now, it's fair to say there has never been a designer like Hedi Slimane, especially in menswear. And I think he will be remembered as one of the greats. And that's the end.